South Africa, the more socialistic a country becomes, the less godly a country essentially becomes. When the government starts to play God within a nation, the nation by default becomes less godly. So what I want to do in this video is I want to talk about the social grant situation that South Africa is currently finding itself in, and then give some very clear call to actions for the youth, especially young men, within this beautiful country of South Africa. Again, I believe that South Africa is the greatest country ever. Definitely not because of our politics at present moment, but because God has got a purpose, a plan, and a destiny for this country, which directly implies that God has got a purpose, a plan, and a destiny for you watching. So drop your comments down there below and use the comment section as your virtual voice. Go ahead and like this video. Let's see if you can get the video up to at least 200 likes. So like for true empowerment and education here today. And let's dive into the video. My name is William Moyses and welcome to the William Moyses Show. Sambonani Tobela Dumilang, Goeiemiddag and good afternoon, South Africa. And also subscribe for empowerment if you have not yet done so. So let's dive into a couple of numbers over here, because again, numbers don't lie, and then we'll be able to kind of dissect what the problem is, and then from there we can dive into the call to actions moving forward. So here's a few numbers from various news outlets, specifically namely Business Tech being one of them, and the other one I can't seem to remember right now, so I'm not going to even mention it. In fact, I can give it to you just in case you have some guy jump on here saying, I'm just kind of quoting things here. From Ground Up News is the other news source over there. So thank you for your patience with me. Okay, let's look at some numbers. Let's dive into some numbers. And again, please feel free to use the comment section as your virtual voice. If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, let me know. Okay, because again, there's something called freedom of speech. And the more you and I are able to essentially dialogue and debate and dive into discussion from a pure heart, we'll be able to get more clarity. And when there's clarity, there's tremendous power, and we can actually run, rebuild, and fix the country accordingly. Okay, so here's a few numbers, namely, number one, right now in South Africa, about 26.5 million people receive social grants from the government. Now, just to give you also another number over here, we are roughly plus minus 60 million odd people. There's probably a little bit more, but let's just work with round numbers, okay? So 60 million. So it's almost half of the population are currently receiving some form of income from the government. With that, and by the way, that maybe sounds nice. It sounds very la-di-da. However, it literally then sets people up in a tremendous way for manipulation, for intimidation, as well as for ungodly control to be exercised over the masses. Because when the mass population are receiving money from the government, it's a problem. Why? Because you are receiving money, number one, from the government, and number two, when they tell you to jump, you ask how high, because you are receiving money from them and you don't want to lose the money. Okay, so I want to dive into a few things regarding that. So out of those around, here's the shocking one, out of those around 8.2 million people on the social relief of distress grant. So the SRD grant was basically introduced during the time of the COVID pandemic for those that were ultimately unemployed. Okay, and that currently pays 370 Rand per month to unemployed adults who receive no other support. The government has now extended this grant until March 2027, while it explores turning it into a more, here's the part here, but whilst it explores ways on how to turn it into a more permanent form of income support. Social grants have become one of the largest spending items in the national budget, supporting millions of households across the country. Now, I want to introduce also another statistic which I do feel is very important, that's going to help set this video up in a tremendous way. So there's also something called NEET, okay? NEET. I might have mispronounced it, but I know what they stand for. So NEET in South Africa stands for Not in Employment, Education, or Training. So we've got one of the largest youth unemployment rates, okay, around, and also one of the largest NEET rates around as well. So the NEET, not in education, employment and training, are individuals that aren't currently employed, nor are they getting educated, nor are they currently in some form of training. And that statistic is sitting at a shocking, for the youth, which is ages 15 all the way up to 35. Okay, that one over there is sitting rather at a shocking between 43 to 45%. Which is, again, almost half over there specifically, which is a massive problem. Now, if you're not currently in education or training or employed and you are receiving free money from the government every single month, you literally are then removing the incentive for you to work. Especially for young men, there's nothing as motivating as a hungry stomach and an empty wallet for you to kick in to producing something or going to knock on some doors, all right? Going to, offer up your time somewhere to go and learn and so forth. But if you can expect to receive, a meager 370 Rand per month, it removes that incentive of hunger for you to try and attempt to do something. Now, I want to share this as well. It's not God's long-term plan for you to stay stuck on a social grant. Now, I'm not referring to someone that's obviously aged or someone that's a veteran and so forth. However, if you are an able, capable human being and you are sucking the government dry of the money, okay, which could be used as something different, you need to get your act together, champ. Like, you need to get plugged in to, firstly, to like a church somewhere, go and offer up your time to go and essentially serve, because God's got a bigger plan for your life. It might just be that right now it's serving as a safety net for you, but it should never ever become a hammock where you just basically lay there and expect things just to come your way, because the result is it starts to develop a type and sense and spirit of entitlement amongst young people. Because the truth is, number one, all of us go through problems. All of us go through trials and tribulations, but there's God, and we need to get our eyes back on God and not the government. I believe personally we should have limited government, less government, and more people ultimately taking responsibility for their lives. I mean, the Bible also is very clear. A man who is unwilling to work must not eat. So if a man is not even willing to go and knock on a couple of doors and so forth, then that man should not essentially eat. Now, you might be like, well, that doesn't sound very compassionate. It is compassionate, because if you keep on feeding that individual, what's going to happen is they're never going to take responsibility for their lives. They are never going to take accountability for their lives, and they're going to keep on sucking other people dry so that they can continue to live their lazy lives. Like, laziness is a disease, and us as young people of this beautiful country should see it as that. Laziness is a disease. You should absolutely resist any type of laziness within your life moving forward, so you can become a diligent, contributing individual towards society. And here's the amazing thing, because you might be like, well, you must understand that these are poor individuals and so forth. Like, I hear that. I hear that. I slept on a wooden floor shivering myself to sleep the one night. I know what that feels like. I chose to literally be homeless at a stage within my life. I know what it's like to, okay, I hear where you're coming from, but the good news is simply this, that you and I do not lack abundance. I'm going to say it again. You and I do not lack abundance. We simply lack an awareness of the abundance that we currently possess. There was a young lady, this is a true story, young lady from America. She recorded a video on her phone, 11-second odd video, making a song for Dr. Pepper, which is a pretty famous soda drink in the United States of America. She recorded the song, no editing whatsoever, of her making a song for Dr. Pepper. Very simple, very basic. The video, boom, ends up going absolutely viral. And guess what happens? Dr. Pepper gets in touch with her. She's done multiple adverts now moving forward, and her life is forever changed by just simply using the abundance that she already possessed. It didn't look like much, but the little, inside of the little, there was actually much. Again, inside of a small seed, it's the potential for there to be an entire forest. So I'm trying to just get the point home over here that yes, you maybe you're currently watching this and you're like, well, stuff you, bro. You broke and whatever, and you need the money. Okay, yes, but it could be a safety net for now, but it should not become a hammock. God's got a way bigger purpose and plan and destiny for your life than for you just to receive free money from the government. He's got a bigger plan for your life. So therefore, stop just consuming and start producing. Stop just complaining and start initiating. Stop just receiving and start to give of your time, of your talent, of your treasure. And let's be a part of the rebuilding and the fixing of this beautiful country. I'm trusting that as the message gets out there to more and more people, that we can see the grant recipients come down completely, so we can start to reshuffle the money and send the money to actually rebuilding the country from the ground up and fixing the country from the ground up, compared to us just becoming an absolute nanny state where we are just getting breastfed by the government with frothed milk. God's got a way bigger plan and destiny for your life. Follow Jesus Christ and start fulfilling the purpose that He has called you in. If you got some value out of this video, consider becoming a member of this channel. It supports us in a tremendous way to continue to save the country through protecting, fighting for, and empowering the next generation to become everything that God has called them to be, so that we can rebuild and fix this beautiful country. So consider becoming a member today, literally for less than a Big Mac meal at McDonald's. You can become a member of this channel. It supports us in a tremendous way with the work that we do with the youth in media, as well as sport, as well as in the marketplace, and it'll be such a blessing to us, all right? So we can go out and continue to be a blessing moving forward. So consider joining. There is a join button over there, down there somewhere. So join today. Also get in touch with us at kinginme.co.za, where you can get activated and truly empowered so you can step into your purpose, so we can stop sucking the nipple of the government and start to pursue what God has actually called us to essentially pursue. God bless you all. Thank you for watching. And until next time, just know today, namhlanje, that your voice matters.